Welcome to One Day in a Wake Up, a show about doing time, getting out, and where you are now. In prison slang, one day in a wake up means you're almost free. Just one more day before they walk you out the gate. So let's walk out together. One Day in a Wake Up on Colorado Radio for Justice.
All right, everybody, what's up? What's up? Thank you for joining us. This is our first One Day in a Wake Up here at the CRJ Studios. So I only thought I'd set it off right with a really good host. Again, thank you for joining us here. This is One Day in a Wake Up. Basically a show where we touch a little bit on incarceration, but mainly like to highlight post-incarceration and the struggles and the obstacles it takes to be successful as to becoming free, being off of parole, just succeeding in a way where you don't have to go back to prison. And if you don't know, this is a Colorado Radio for Justice production. I'm your formerly incarcerated humble host, Herbert Alexander. And today we have the pleasure of being in the presence of a great friend of mine who probably thought I was going to say in the presence of greatness. Yeah. He probably didn't think that. That was pretty funny. Again, he's a good friend of mine. He was incarcerated as a juvie. What age did you go in?
16.
At 16 years old. So that was pretty young.
People who were running JCAP actually came to my lawyers and told them to tell me to fill out the forms to get into the program. So they basically handpicked me to be in the program.
Mm. So what was that feeling like when you knew that you were going there? Because there was word that if you completed this program, then you were almost guaranteed to go home if you were under that juvenile law.
Well, not guaranteed to come home, but you would have a good chance.
A really good chance of going home. Okay.
Sure.
What was a lot of the program consisting of?
It was just basic living things, teaching you how to live as a free person, like how to use laundromats, how to use debit cards, how to use iPhones, how to do your taxes, how to write checks, how to, deposit money, just basic stuff that you should know as an adult.
And they taught you guys all that, and you go through all that, and then is there some type of certification that you have to have for the completion they give you?
No.
It
was basically just like going to school.
Okay.
And that thing, we get report cards and take tests every week. And once we graduated, it showed all the test scores that we had, our average, scores and whatnot. It's just like graduating from GED program or high school or something like that.
All right. So you're completing the program, how long before you knew that you were done and you were about to come home?
How long before I got the word that I was coming home?
Yeah, before you got the word, when you knew that you were coming home, that you got a date.
We had finished the program. We all seen the parole board on the same day, because we had to each see a parole board member, talk to them one-on-one, and they would all come together and talk about it and then make a recommendation, and then they'll send that to the governor, and he has the final say whether we get out or not. So it was probably maybe a month after we all seen the parole board, the case manager called us and was like, "Hey, we got a meeting at 3:00 this afternoon." And she was like, "The captain's going to be there, the warden's going to be there, and all the case managers going to be there." And we were like, "For what?" She's like, "They made their decision." So we were all shocked, scared. Some of us were like, they're not going to let all of us out. We had doubt because it was.
Do you remember how many people were with you in that first round?
Yeah.
Of JCAPs?
It was nine males and 2 females over in the women's facility. So it was 11 of us all together in the program. And they called us in that meeting, and the women, they were on like Skype. They had them on the TV, so we were all at the meeting. And then the parole board people, they were talking, telling how they felt about each and every one of us and whatnot. And at the end of their speech, they were like, "Yep, you guys are all going home March 8th."
Everybody.
Yeah. So everybody just started crying.
Yeah.
Case managers was crying, captains was crying, like COs were crying. Everybody was like, wow. That
Put a lot of work for them. So what was that night like? That night, let's talk about the night that you were getting ready to pack up out of there. Like, they were like, you know what it is. They send you that trash bag. Like, let's go to property.
Man, it was, to be honest, it was really like any other night for me, because I didn't believe it until I got out those gates, because I did so much time. It's like, nah, it's not real.
Really? After all the work?
And after all that time, I was happy. I got on the phone, told my mom, everybody was happy. But at the same time that night, I was like, I don't know, bro. Like, I don't know if this is real or not. So I just went to sleep, woke up. And when they called my name over the loud system to go to receiving, oh yeah, I was shaking. I was like, what?
It's that.
I'm leaving. Are you serious?
That had to have been a crazy emotion, like shivers and everything.
I didn't know. I really didn't know what to feel. I was like, it's been 27 years, 7 months since I've been not behind razor wire. Like, I don't even know how it's going to feel to be stepping out there like that.
You went in as a baby, homie.
Yeah.
So now that you're out, when you got out, you really don't know about the world other than what you've seen on television or what you've heard on the phone that your people, you know what I'm saying, relate to you. Was there anything that kind of like caught you off guard? Or, here's a better question for that. What was the worst thing about being free when you first got out?
Honestly, the worst thing was just probably not having nothing to do. Like, in prison, you got to go to work, do something every day. Like, when I first got out, like, I didn't have a job, nothing. I was like, I just wake up, like, what the hell I'm doing? Like, I just used to walk around the neighborhood all day, just walk around. Get up at like 3 o'clock in the morning and be walking. That was one of the things I wanted so badly to do, was to be able to go outside whenever I wanted to.
You just go walk without nobody telling you.
Yeah, the worst thing was, like, I didn't have any structure. I didn't have nobody telling me, hey, you got to do this, do this, do this. Like, even my parole officer didn't care what I was doing. Like, he didn't say, oh, you have to work. He was just like, just don't catch another felon.
So do you think that's a thing, like not having that for people like you, like me, not having, I'm not going to say somebody tell you something to do, but just because you lived it so long, your structure was, pre-made for you, preordained for you, every day.
Yeah, that was hard, because, like I said, I had a program to follow in prison. Get out. I got out. I didn't have nobody telling me nothing.
You're kind of lost.
I was lost. Like, what am I going to do?
You really did. So, like, you didn't have anybody that you could talk to, or like you couldn't. There was nobody that you can find, or did you even look for help?
Yeah, I used to call my case manager at 4 Mile. Patty Pierce, rest in peace. She passed away. But I used to call her, like, crying tears. Like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. Like, literally crying tears. Like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. My PO hasn't contacted me. He hasn't said anything to me. I don't know if I'm in trouble. She was like, if he's not contacting you, you're good. She was like, just take it one day at a time. Just do what you have to do for that day. Don't worry about tomorrow. Just take it one day at a time. Yeah, I used to call her a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Well, that's good support there. All right, so you didn't have to go to a halfway house when you got out. You just got straight out.
Just straight out.
Straight out.
Straight out. No halfway house, nothing. They go.
That's kind of rough. I mean, and without a big support system behind you.
Yeah, it was kind of Yeah, it was definitely rough. And also not
So
having nothing, like no real skill set to find a job and whatnot. Like, yeah.
did you feel as if you wanted to, jump back in to the other side of, the freedom fence to doing things? Did you ever feel like you wanted to jump to, if you know what I'm saying? Just to be honest, was there times where you're like, man, I can't make it. I gotta go. I'm gonna go hustle.
Yeah. It was, there was a time like I literally was sitting down talking to myself like, well, I'm about to go get a sack. I'm about to sell some dope. And I was like, man, I ain't never sold dope in my life. I mean, I'm 44 years old, starting to sell dope. Like, I'm definitely going to go back to prison. I was like, yeah, that's not a good idea. So then I called my uncle and was like, man, I need to work. I need a job. I started working with him. But yeah, that was a conversation I had with myself. It's not going to be a good idea.
What do you think, besides not knowing, besides knowing that if you do, something illegal, if you out there trapping, doing whatever, just playing that game, was there anything else besides knowing that you would go back to prison that stopped you from doing that?
Yeah, my family for sure. Like my little bro, he was like, man, I love you to death. You did all this time. He's like, if you ever go back, it's like, I'm not coming to visit you. I'm not writing you. He's like, man, you better take this opportunity and run with it. So then my mom was like, she basically said the same thing. She was like, if you go back, she's like, I'm not going to be able to live. She's like, I'm not going to be able to do it again. I was like, all right, I got to definitely. And plus, I just did not want to go back to prison. Like, nah. I know they say never, but I said, I'm never going back. And so far, I haven't, and I don't plan on going back.
So what was your first job? You said you were working with your uncle?
Yeah.
What was that job?
Construction. It was construction. Basic painting. That's all we did was paint. Really. Yeah. Painting like office buildings.
So you picked up a skill.
Yeah, definitely.
Now what are you doing?
Working at the Denver Rescue Mission, the homeless shelter, doing janitorial.
Janitorial work?
Yeah. It's cool.
It's a Denver Rescue Mission, so like, are you helping a lot of, like, do you find any joy in helping people out there?
Yeah, honestly, yeah, for sure. Because it's like, if you work there, if you've been to prison, you work there, it's kind of like the same structure. How they feed them, how, how they sleep, the restrooms, all that stuff is just like prison. So for me to be able to, make sure they have clean bathrooms, I clean the cafe, have clean areas because they're out on the street. They don't have nowhere to go. So for me, it feels good to make sure that, they got a clean place to come, use the restroom, clean place to sit down and eat. You know what I mean?
So like, is it saying, so like, are you like, if in this role, in this sort of like prison role that you're working at, are you like the CO or are you like the trustee? Like, what are you?
Like sometimes we're doing like a CO because we get radios. We got these little badge things we can pop the doors with. Like if I see something, I gotta get on the radio. Like, oh, there's a fight over here. It's like, and I told somebody, I told somebody like, I feel like a CO sometimes.
So you got out before I did. So I already had known you were out on the streets and everything. So when I get out, I get to go to a halfway house. I'm at a halfway house, and it's almost like prison too. You know what I'm saying? It's almost out of prison. And I'm out one day, and I look to my left. I see this tall, skinny, weird-looking dude. And I was happy to see you, bro. As happy as I was to see, I was disappointed in see. You know what I'm saying? So, like, can you kind of just during your journey as trying to get off paper, you ended up catching a new case.
Yes. basically
Screwed up?
running wild, taking my freedom for granted, and put myself in a situation where I allowed somebody to do something.
Okay, so, woo! I know that had to have been crazy because you had to go back to jail.
Yeah.
How was that? Let's forget one day in the wake up. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about going to bed in jail.
It was crazy. Like I literally.
After feeling that, bro, were you upset at yourself, sad, or
No, I was definitely upset. I was definitely pissed off at myself. It's like there's no way I just did all this time. And I've only been out I was out for like a year and a half. Like, man, I'm about to go right back to prison. It's like, nah, like this can't be real. But it was.
you found yourself sitting back in that county jail?
Yeah.
Like that's the worst type of time. Like that.
Man.
That is the worst. Doing county time. Were they throwing crazy numbers at you for this?
Nah, they weren't even throwing no numbers. They were just still deciding on like a final whatever charge or whatever. So at the time, I didn't even know what I was really facing. And then they were talking about they're not going to give you no deal unless you give up some information. I was like, oh man, going back.
But it worked out. You ended up getting a deal to go to the halfway house?
Yes.
Without violating the parole, or?
Yeah. And that was crazy. It's like everybody in the county was like, oh, you caught a new felony. Well, you're definitely going back to prison. I was like, dang. I was like, man, I got a 6-year sentence. So I was like, I'll probably do 3, get back out. And when I went to my parole hearing, the lady, she was more upset with the people who put me in who I allowed put me in a situation. And she felt like they were allowing me to take the charge for them. So she was more upset with them. She was like, but you've been doing good on parole, so I'm not going to violate you. I'm going to let you go to the halfway house. Mm-hmm. And that to me was more shocking than the day I found out I was getting out of prison.
That was definitely a blessing.
Man, definitely.
I've been in that situation, parole counter case, and they send you right back. And don't pass go, brother. So, now today, going through that, was that little spanking on your ass, enough to keep you from being put in those types of situations?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I keep my circle super small. Like I don't be going out, I party, and I go to work, go home.
That's the best life.
Yeah, that's
the best life. That's my life. That's what I like to do. You face the uphill battle. You're still fighting it. I feel like you feel still that you're fighting it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If there was somebody that you saw getting out of prison, what would be, some advice that you would give him now that you've gone through something, fought your way out of it, and now you're just sitting on a plateau just waiting to elevate? What would you tell him?
I would say definitely find people who you can talk to about how you feel on a day-to-day basis. Because like it's definitely a mental struggle getting out after doing all that time, not having anybody who you can confide in. I had my family, but they really didn't understand where I was coming from. So, networking with people who may have been in your situation who are out doing good, trying to find those people, sit down with them, talk to them, cry on their shoulders if you have to.
The good ones especially.
Definitely.
The good ones. Yeah. Because not all felons are the same. Not all felons, not everybody's felony friendly, you know what I'm saying? Like there's levels and there's growth that you have to get to, you know what I'm saying? So, but there's people like me, people like him, people that, Colorado Radio for Justice is surrounded by, that people that can help you out with. So,
Yeah.
but continue.
Yeah, just find somebody to talk to. Because like when we're in the pen and stuff, like we going through something, I can come to you and be like, man, this is what's going on with my mom, and this is what's going on with my bro. We could sit down, chop it up. You get out. People got their own problems. They don't want to hear that. They don't like I suck it up. Like my sister, I used to tell her, like, I'd go to the grocery store and I wouldn't know how to do self-checkout, and there'd be people standing around like, I just got out of prison. She's like, quit telling people that stuff. I'm like, it's true. I did just get out. I'm not using it as an excuse. Like, I don't know how to do this stuff. I was in prison. Like, I'm not embarrassed I was in prison. That was part of my life. But yeah.
That's tough, man. Because I can definitely relate. Going into doing something simple as that, buying a drink, and you got people in back of you. Like, what the hell are you? And you feel like you're pissing everybody off behind you.
Yeah.
So you're trying to rush, and you're like, hey, man, it's not an excuse. Like, can somebody help me?
Yeah, for real.
I was blessed because I have somebody to help me. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with all that, and I still have problems with it. But yeah, man, that's is there anything else that you might want to share about your journey?
It's been rough, man. It's been a rough journey, but at the same time, it's been the best thing I've ever experienced.
You'll never trade it in.
Never
trade it in coming from where you came from. You can never want to trade that in.
Never. Like my worst day out here is better than my best day in prison. So I would take the struggles out here any day.
Facts.
Rather than being in the pen and living under somebody's thumb. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I think I try to use that when I feel like things are getting harder. I'm like, it could be worse, bro.
Man.
It could be so much worse. And, I think about people that are in there, and I'm like, see what they're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? There's something I want to ask you, because, we had a tight-knit circle of friends who we used to be around. And there's certain ones who probably ain't never coming home. Do you feel like you pissed them off when they heard that you caught a case?
Definitely. Man, I can't tell. I was so scared of going back to the pen for that reason alone. Like, I didn't want to run into nobody, because I'm like, they're gonna be like, you messed up your life, like you did all this time you got on. So yeah, I was like, man, they're gonna be so disappointed. Because I know how that feels, because I done been in that situation, seen brothers come back in the pen. I'm like, man,
yeah, you're like, you idiot.
Yeah.
If I had a chance, I'll never come back.
Shit. Yeah, so I was sitting in the county calling myself dumb, like, man, you the same idiot that you was calling, you know what I mean? Like, doing the same thing these dudes was doing now.
Experience is a good teacher, though. I mean, I hate that that's a type of experience that some of us have to go through, like real traumatic experiences to learn, because I had to, because you couldn't tell me nothing. But man, it's been real good. This was a good conversation. I enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying? If you enjoyed the conversation as well, hit that like, subscribe, One Day in a Wake Up. And thank you so much for joining us. Again, I'm Herbert Alexander, happy to be living, not to be in prison. This is my partner, Cullen Barnes. You know what I'm saying? One Day in a Wake Up, Colorado Radio for Justice. Thank you.
To who it may concern, I'm at the point of no return. It took a couple round trips in order for me to learn, and I ain't never going back. Allow me to be exact. You let pain run its course till you're forced to adapt in the worst habitat. Speaking matter of fact, zigzagging through this maze with my brain still intact. Progress is the phase. The rest is just cap. What lurks after that? Fresh air don't care when you spent light years in a prison, shifting gears with the friction and the tears. Addictions in the rear. Model for your peers. That's the sum of all fears. This is not a hot take. One day and awake till a steak on my plate. Kiss from my mate. Life reanimate. Exist to be great. Let your thoughts elevate. Bend but don't break. Cause your past and your future can no longer correlate.
One Day and a Wake Up is a production of Colorado Radio for Justice. Check out CRJ at radioforjustice.org and across social media at Radio for Justice. This episode of One Day and a Wake Up was produced by me, Taylor Hanson, along with Ryan Conroe and Herbert Alexander. We're also the executive producers for this show, along with Seth Reddy. Our theme music is by Herbert Alexander. This is One Day and a Wake Up.